You're watching We All Be News Radio, News Free Dixie for the 21st century. I'm Thaddeus Matthews.
Do you know what today is? It's John Coltrane's day. Happy birthday, Saint John Coltrane. Da, 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 da.
Welcome, family, to another wonderful, entertaining, edutaining edition of We All Be News Free Dixie for the 21st century. And we are definitely heading towards a Mercury retrograde. I have been experiencing some weird Mercury retrograde stuff going on Thursday that I could not make up even on my best day in terms of my imagination. Welcome all. And this is your host for the Empowerment Segment, Brother Ron, also known as R2C2H2, the artivist. Definitely want to go live. It's all the way live. Thank y'all for being patient. You are my sunshine on a moon-filled night. How you doing? Sister Sunshine. Sending you that Mid-South love, California. How you doing, Miss Cali? Sunshine. Thank you for tuning in. The moon is red in L.A. tonight. Interesting. We are in fall. Legends of the fall. Peace, universe, soul. Thank you for tuning in to tune out. Thank you, Detroit player, for tuning in and to tune out. It's going to be an interesting show. Thank you. Thank you for being a supporter, standing strong, 10 toes down, solid. We love you madly. Love all y'all. Thank y'all for tuning in. There's a lot to talk about in this so-called news cycle. I just wanted to weigh in. Of course, September 23rd is it's John Coltrane Day. John Coltrane was really a Black Messiah music, a guy who really wanted to change the world by changing himself. John Coltrane had an epiphany, kind of like Paul on the road, or Saul on the road to Damascus. He had a biblical awakening of sorts, spiritual. John Coltrane comes from a long line of ministers. He lost a lot of his people when he was young. His father, his grandfather lost him when he was young. Went through a lot of adversity and tragedy. Got strung out on heroin back in the day, but I believe it was 1957. God came to him. He was about 30 years old. I think it was at 57 or 56. Y'all look that up. Take a look. It's all online. And he dedicated the last 10 years of his life to express his love. A love supreme, a love supreme, a love supreme. Coltrane was amazing because he was really a prophet who happened to play saxophone. And he had a very unique sound. Really, jazz is all about having your own signature sound. Like, you look at me, when you hear me play, I sound like me. I'm playing me. I don't care if I'm in tune or out of tune. My thing is, the only way you can make a great contribution to this world is by being true to yourself, to thy own self. Be true. That means you got to be original in terms of how you accept yourself. Coltrane's sound is him. He's not imitating anybody else. That's him. A lot of people want to sound like Coltrane, but Coltrane had to go through something to have something to say. You got to go through stuff to have something to say. To paraphrase Yardbird, Charlie Parker from Kansas City, music is your life, your experiences. If you don't live your music, it won't come out your horn. So Coltrane definitely lived his music, and we lost him way too young at 40 years young. He died back in July of 1967. He was just 40 years young, but his music is timeless, and he is forever young, and his music is immortal. I listened to a lot of Coltrane today, and y'all should check out a song he did called "Why Was I Born?" And after you listen to Coltrane, you know why he was born. And mission accomplished. There was an interesting documentary that came out about Coltrane several years ago. It featured Bill Clinton. Bill Clinton was in it. I'll tell you this. I'm gonna give credit where credit due. Bill Clinton, more so than Obama, really respects so-called black culture. I have to say that because he showed up for Aretha's funeral. Obama just mailed in a letter. Oh, thank you very much. I'm going to go to John McCain. I think the Clintons went to both Aretha's and John McCain's funeral. But Aretha means more to the culture than John McCain. No disrespect to John McCain, but people are going to be listening to Aretha Franklin 100 years from now. I don't know if people really going to know who John McCain is 100 years from now, but people will. If there are people around somewhere in this universe, they will be listening to Aretha, Queen Riri. But Bill Clinton really knows his stuff when it comes to the culture. I mean, I know black folks did him this service thinking he was a black man, but he knows his music history, and he did a good job on the Coltrane documentary, offering commentary, and he did a great job eulogizing Aretha and basically letting people know she was not just an artist, but she also was a historian. She knew who came before. She appreciated her crowd. She appreciated the greatest of the practitioners of her crowd, because Aretha was a hell of a piano player. So now in the movie Aretha, with respect with Jennifer Hudson, the younger Aretha, her father had a lot of the who's who of the black entertainment world. Phenomenal genius musicians like Dinah Washington and Sam Cooke would come to the house. But in the opening scene, you see Art Tatum at the piano and Aretha just soaking it all in like a sponge. Art Tatum, one of the greatest piano players to ever touch 88 keys. So I guess legally blind, but he could see or he can hear the way to the future. But with Coltrane, Coltrane was not a prodigy. He was a genius. And I always tell people you got to understand what it is to be a prodigy versus being a genius. A prodigy is like a mockingbird. They can imitate well. You could be a prodigy. If you got a great facility on piano, or you could paint very well. But to be a genius is just to be yourself. Meaning to be a genius, you don't have to be smart like Einstein or artist or the most proficient or in terms of technique. It's just to have something that is of value to contribute that's really from you. It's from the heart. It's from you. It's authentically you. That's all a genius is. You don't have to be that smart to be a genius. Not the way I look at it. It's a lot of smart people that do stupid stuff all the time. That makes you human. People think just because you're real smart, that means you don't make mistakes. Oh, some of the smartest people make the biggest mistakes. A lot of times you don't even know your value as a smart person. Think about that Hall guy who created the synthetic diamond that made General Motors wealthy. The only reason I know about was H. Tracy Hall. I'm not going to look this up, but I remember I'm just now getting into Breaking Bad. I'm behind everybody else on Breaking Bad. I'm on season 2. Walter White should be president of the United States as far as I'm concerned. He's just as filthy and dirty and just a thug, but he's brilliant. He's dark, the way of saying things, but he had, told his students about the guy who worked at General Motors named Henry Tracy Hall or something like that. And he invented the synthetic diamond, made that company a fortune, and all they gave him was like a $10 stock. He made them millions and billions probably of dollars, and all they gave to him was $10 certificate or bond or something like that. I said, this must be made up, and I had to Google on my smartphone, and sure enough, it was a cat named Hall who did this, and all the company that he worked for, he was a company man. All the General Motors, I believe, gave him was a $10 bond or saving bond or something like that. Y'all just look it up. It's just like, man, y'all talking about black folks getting screwed over. And also check out the Bob Ross documentary on Netflix. That's really an eye-opener. I used to love watching The Joy of Painting on PBS. Bob Ross, the white man with the perfect afro. Happy, happy, happy trees. Happy mountains. Yes. There's no happy accidents. Yes, yes. And it was amazing watching the documentary. Just the brilliance of the man, the way he was able to communicate. And really, that was like how Coltrane saw music. That was his ministry. But how he was taken advantage of was very eye-opening as well. And it said that his son was tricked out of his own inheritance by his own family. His father thought he could trust his brother and his newlywed wife, and they didn't end up betraying his legacy. And Kowalski's, the Kowalski's, right? Husband and wife, they really managed his career, really pimped him. It sounded like they pimped him, Bob Ross. I didn't know he was being this exploited. They use his likeness, his intellectual property. They're basically making millions of dollars to this day, and they're still alive, from my understanding. These people were old 30, 40 years ago, and they're still alive. And Bob Ross died in his early 50s, but he looked older than what he was. He died from a form of cancer or something like that. But check out that Bob Ross documentary. And he's like, he was a very sincere cat. He really wanted to help people through the joy of painting. And he was very passionate about painting and about sharing that passion with people. Kind of like how Coltrane was very passionate about his music and sharing the joy of music with people. And where he healed people. Coltrane was a healer. You look at the documentary, some of the people whose lives were changed by Bob Ross sharing his passion. He was also a healer in the same way, but he couldn't heal himself. So it's funny, like, you got that barber who's a master barber. He can cut everybody else's hair, trim them up, make them look good, but his hair is always jacked up. His beard is always messed up. It's funny how God got this unique way of, or the unique sense of humor about things like that. But Bob Ross, and these people were CIA. And Bob Ross, according to his son, they lived with these people for about 2 years. So Bob Ross could have been MK Ultra under mind control. I don't know. Because artists, we're very vulnerable to those type of things. And people say, well, Ron, you must be an empath. I said, when I feel it hurts. When I give, it hurts, right? The reason why sometimes my worldview is kind of dim or I feel depressed because I care too much. I realize I care too much. A lot of people don't give a damn. A lot of people are very selfish and about self-preservation, which is nothing wrong with that. You should take care of yourself, but I give to it hurts. Like that Bill Withers song, "Use me till you use me up." But I'm saying, like, Bob Ross. I mean, it was said that his son to this day has not collected on his father's intellectual property in terms of the millions of dollars, and he was cheated by his own. But check it out. The Kowalskis definitely CIA. I mean, the fact that they got CIA backgrounds let you know what time it is. But all this stuff always been compromised. You go back to Operation Mockingbird, where the U.S. intelligence controls the media. I'll let you know. We just had the 9/11 thing, and I always tell people, look at the Lone Gunman pilot episode, the spin-out show from the X-Files. They showed that the World Trade was about to get bombed by an airplane, right? The airplane computer system was hijacked by a rogue element within the government, and it was geared towards bringing down the towers. And 6 months later, what you have 9 skyscrapers. Someone dialed 911. So with Coltrane, he's interesting to me because he was not a prodigy. Like if you listen to his old Navy recordings, you would not tell that. If you heard how Coltrane sounded when he was in the Navy, you would never know he would be who he became, this jazz music god later on, right? But the reason why he became who he became, because he had a hell of a work ethic, just like Charlie Parker. Charlie Parker was no prodigy. He was highly intelligent, but these guys worked hard as hell at their craft. Charlie Parker was a Virgo. He was born August 29th, 1920. August 29th is also the birthday of Dinah Washington, of Michael Jackson, of Albertina Walker, and so many other great music geniuses were born on August 29th. And Virgos are very OCD with their thing. They're very perfectionist-minded people. Virgos are very unique people. They're very driven people. Once they get a hold of something, they just perfect it. And Coltrane was born on September 23rd. So he's almost a Virgo. So he got that Virgo Libra thing. So he got a lot of Charlie Parker in terms of his, playing on his saxophone for hours and hours at a time. Just like Charlie Parker said, for about 4 years, he practiced his saxophone about 11 to 15 hours a day. So they didn't have social media or internet back then. So I mean, if he had Pornhub, I don't think he'd been practicing on that horn. He'd probably practice on another horn. I don't know. I'm just saying. Like OJ, I'm just saying. But anyway. But yeah, Coltrane kept saxophones around his house like some people keep guns around their house. If they had a National Saxophone Association, John Coltrane would be like Charleston Heston. He'll keep going. You won't pry this saxophone off my dead cold hands. You'll never pry this saxophone. Because I know he had this thing where he'll be at a hotel and people be complaining about his sound, like the music, noise he'll make with his saxophone. And this guy would just practice for hours on the keys, just pressing on the keys, not making the sound. You just do. And actually, if you talk to any musician and stuff, that a lot of us do most of our practicing in our heads. We practice more away from our instruments than we do with our instruments. Like it's all about your imagination. Like Einstein said, imagination is more powerful than knowledge. So it's just really you just trying to conceptualize your sound. Really, there's a phenomenon known as woodshedding, where these musicians will go, like, Charlie Parker used to go to the Ozarks and he'll practice for hours and hours, drinking orange can soda to, fuel him while he practiced. And Coltrane would practice and practice and practice. So basically be able to play whatever came into their mind. And really, you develop a connection with your instrument and with yourself. You start bonding with you. When you spend that type of intense, long time by yourself with you, you start to understand yourself better than anybody else. A lot of people don't understand themselves. That's why a lot of people cannot achieve certain things in their lifetime, because they have no understanding of who they are. It's like I do this thing. I ask people, what do you want? And folks think that's a trick question. It's not really a trick question. I'm trying to figure out where your mind at, where your mental at, because cats would say, what do you want me to want? People say stuff, what do you mean, like, anything like in particular? I said, no, I'm actually, what do you want? It's not what do you think I want you to want. It's what do you want? It could be like, I want to be rich, or I just want a cheeseburger. There's no right or wrong answer to it, but people keep on trying to say, well, how do you want me to answer that? This is not the SAT. This is not culturally biased at all. This is not a culturally biased test. This is about life and living and knowing who you are as a person. What do you want? And most people cannot answer that question. Or if they try to answer the question, it's never about them. They always try to make it about somebody. They want to project. So like a lot of people don't see, this is the thing I learned. A lot of folks don't want the responsibility or the accountability of being responsible for themselves or being in charge. This is why you see, you see this on an individual level, but you look at black people, we don't want the responsibility of having real liberation. We don't want to be liberated. We want to be tied down so we have an excuse to feel sorry for ourselves. I'm just being honest, being a black person, being a so-called, and people say, well, I'm not black. Okay, whatever, being a person who's been marginalized and so-called oppressed and been denied access to certain type of resources, who've been denied leverage, who've been denied all, including reparations, we find a way to make excuses why we cannot have what we could and should have. We always make these type of excuses, and life is really, regardless if you live to be 100 years old, life is too short to always be making excuses, or even to feel sorry for yourself. Like I have my days where I feel bad, but I find a way to be productive. And we all got to learn how to do that, find ways to be productive, because really, when you start waking up and being aware, this system is not made for your benefit. So why are you mad when they don't give you things that you deserve or earn or that you should have? Because life is not fair. Nobody never ever told me that life was going to be fair. It's not fair. It is what it is. But also, it is what you make it to be. So with Coltrane, he could have easily gave up because he wasn't born playing a horn. And once he figured stuff out and developed work ethic, he couldn't put it down. Like he told Miles one time, Miles, I can't stop playing the horn. I don't know what to do. I keep on wanting to play. Miles said, let's take the motherfucker out your mouth. That's all you got to do. Take it out your mouth. Put it in your mouth or take it out. That's all you gotta do. But Coltrane was obsessed with the horn, with finding his path, with using his music gifts to heal the world. He really wanted to make the world a better place through sound. And it really made him a threat to the powers that be. Now, some people believe that Coltrane was neutralized because Coltrane was onto something. And you look at where he was at back in the 67 when Coltrane died and where music is at now. Think about what was going on in 67 with music versus where we at right now in 2021. Coltrane was close. That he was closer to where we needed to be as far as to elevate ourselves than we are now. Think about the Sun Ra's and the Albert Eilers and the Ornette Colemans and these cats. They really was challenging by going. Really, people think it was new avant-garde music, but really it was pulling from the past. Like the boys talk about the sorrow songs, right? They were pulling from our past. That Sankofa thing, where you look back to the past for inspiration to go forward into the future. Because all them cats, right? You look at, for example, Andre 3000. I ain't gonna never forget when Andre 3000 did Rap City about 20 years ago or so. Joe Clair was the host. He had Andre 3000 and Big Boy on there. And Joe Clair asked Andre 3000 what he was reading. He said, I'm reading a biography about Sun Ra. A lot of y'all don't know who Sun Ra is. Some of y'all actually do know who Sun Ra is in the orchestra. And then Joe Clair answered back, what you know about some Sun Ra? Something like that. And then 3 years later, guess what? Love Below changed the game. Love Below came out 3 years later. But 3 years before, he was talking about, I was reading the book about Sun Ra. And Sun Ra was doing things that y'all give a lot of credit to Parliament Funkadelic and Prince and Earth, Wind and Fire. Sun Ra was doing that back in the late 40s and 50s. I mean, he was using synthesizers back in the 50s. Sun Ra was just ahead of it. And when you pay a price to be that avant-garde or be that forward thinking, because I remember listening to an interview that Sun Ra did. He talked about how they'd be at the same club, I don't know, with Slugs or some club up in New York, and the recording companies would be in there. You have Coltrane playing, some other cats playing, and then Sun Ra said, when we get up to play, the recording people leave. They don't want to record us. They leave. And Sun Ra is a unique guy because Sun Ra was able to travel the world with no budget. This man would speak at Berkeley, UC Berkeley, standing room only. You can find clips of the audio of some of his lectures online. He'll give people a book list. This is before the age of internet. He'll give people a book list and everything. Can you imagine like Instagram Live or Facebook Live and on YouTube live streaming Sun Ra doing one of these amazing lectures, standing room only? This man, I read some of the books he suggests. Some of these books are out of print. They're hard to find. But they show you the brilliance of the man. But this man was able to have a big band. And sometimes he probably paid these cats maybe $5. But these people wanted to be with, these people gave up their lives. This everyday life. They turn their backs on their families. Like this guy named Pat Patrick, who was a baritone saxophonist and gifted composer, arranger. This is the father. I think his name is Pat Patrick. This is the father of the future governor of Massachusetts. Deval Patrick father gave up his family to spend years with Sun Ra. This is how profound Sun Ra was. Sun Ra was like an alchemist. He'll take the dispossessed, the downtrodden, the so-called creatively maladjusted, the people that society turned their backs on and gave up on, and he would reinvent them into master musicians. He would teach drummers how to make drums out of tree trunks, trees that were struck by lightning. He would teach them how to do that by hand. John Gilmore, great saxophonist. John Gilmore, he used to teach John Coltrane. I mean, one of John Coltrane's saxophone heroes was Johnny Gilmore. John Gilmore, great saxophonist who really could have made it as a star, but he chose to stay with Sun Ra for decades. He kind of reminded me of Johnny Hodges, the great alto saxophonist for Duke Ellington, who stayed with Duke for a long time, he would leave and come back. I think John Gilmore left a couple of times and came back. He actually led the band after Sun Ra died, but ended up dying not too long after Sun Ra, or making his transition to the other plane, maybe to the mothership. I don't know. But John Gilmore was a hero of John Coltrane. I believe he gave John Coltrane saxophone lessons, and that's what I learned about that. What I learned and love about Coltrane, he never stopped learning. You know, if you probably talked to Coltrane, he never probably saw himself as a master musician, because music cannot be mastered. If you in the mind of a Coltrane, you can never master music. There's so much to music, so much to learn, and he kept on pushing himself out and out and out. Like he's like almost Kid Icarus, like you flying so close to the sun you get burnt. But then Coltrane, ain't no telling where he would have ended up going had he lived a little bit longer. But you could have hints of that, because another cat he loved and that I love, named A.L.L from Cleveland. A lot of cats be sleeping on A.L. He was very gifted saxophonist. Also could sing too. I mean, check out some of his stuff. He was like, you know, in this different headspace like Coltrane. He actually did play at Coltrane's funeral. Coltrane basically said that A.L. played like what he wanted to play like in his dreams. And to me, I love A.L. But you know, I remember I talked to Jimmy Heath, who was real close to John Coltrane. Back in 2016, I went to visit Jimmy Heath, spend some time with him. He's an amazing artist, musician, educator. Gave to the end. He lived until his 90s. He passed away back in 2020. We lost so many jazz greats and music legends in 2020. And but he told me when they had the Jazzmobile up in Harlem, and A.L. would play with the Jazzmobile, and they'd be in Harlem, and black folks be throwing shit out the window. Shut that motherfucker up. You don't want to hear that shit. You're like, because he be screaming, and he could play, he was a great musician, but he was looking for his voice. He was trying to go back into the soul of humanity and bring that out. And we've been so desensitized to our own humanity. A lot of folks can't even understand or grasp the genius of what A.L. was doing. But like Jimmy Heath said, Albert went so far out though that, you know, black folks, we love to have something to dance off to, you know, hit it on the one and all that stuff, you know, like James Brown. But Albert could play R&B, could play blues, but he actually was playing us, because if you listen to his music, a lot of it had its inspiration in Negro spirituals and marching songs. Like it kind of sounded like New Orleans jazz at the turn of the 20th century. Collective improvisation. His brother would sometimes play cornet or trumpet with him. And Albert was found dead in the East River. I believe he was like 34 years young. So he died young as well too. Now, Kes said he was killed by the mob allegedly or something like that. I'm not sure. Anything's possible, but you know, Albert's music is amazing, and I hope that our people would kind of keep their minds and ears open to somebody like an A.L. or Sun Ra, especially Sun Ra, because Sun Ra influenced so many mainstream rock and roll, R&B, pop. You know, a lot of the stuff y'all think was like, oh man, Andre 3000, he got that from Sun Ra. Earth, Wind, and Fire, Maurice White. But anyway, I can't believe I've been on a third boat. Coltrane, some people believe he was taken out by the government because you think about Jimi Hendrix. Even think about Jimi Hendrix. Jimi Hendrix's sound was amazing. Arguably, he still is probably the greatest guitar player still. And he only lived to be 27. But he was such a threat. You got to think about it. Jimi Hendrix was in the 101st Airborne. He jumped out of airplanes for Uncle Sam. But his manager was MI6, Mike Jeffrey. He disappeared during a plane crash. Like they say, he died in a plane crash, but they never recovered his body. So I believe he was, you know, some type of protection program. But he was over Jimi Hendrix's estate at the time of his death. And a lot of people believe that Jimi Hendrix was murdered because Jimi Hendrix, one thing, he believed in liberation. He was a big financial supporter of the Black Panther Party. And I know y'all listen to Judge Joe Brown on my show, and he's entitled to his point of view, but Jimi Hendrix did put money into the Black Panther Party. There's a documentary came out not too long after he died back in the 70s. They interviewed people like Little Richard and his girlfriend, who's basically the girlfriend of all the stars. Like she, I don't know if she's still alive. I would love to interview her. I'm surprised that Vlad was somebody to interview her yet, and should be in her 80s probably. But she was the girlfriend to Jimi Hendrix, Sam Cooke, Jackie Wilson, James Brown, Little Willie John. All them cats died crazy death. Like the Mind Jegna would tell me, Mr. Emerson Abel Jr., run, nobody dies a natural death in show business. But they said he used to love buying the Black Panther Party newspaper, and then he gave money to the Black Panther Party. He believed in what they were doing. Even though Jimmy, he loved his white women and all this other stuff, he liked doing what he do. And I believe that Jimi Hendrix had a son overseas, I'm not mistaken. I don't know. Actually met his cousin some years ago on Beale Street. They had some type of Jimi Hendrix mobile on Beale Street. It's got to be 20-something years ago. I think his father was still around. But anyway, I talked a lot about Coltrane and not really talk a lot. Okay, yeah. My Thursday was interesting because I had a dentist appointment for a cleaning, but I was late. It was weird because I woke up in time. I did a lot of stuff. Like I mopped my floor, washed my clothes, washed dishes, did some. I mean, I was productive. Then all of a sudden, next thing you know, I was like almost 20 minutes late for my dentist appointment. It was weird because normally I'm able to get there on time, but like it's like when I was on the expressway, every car that was in front of me was going real, real slow. There were traffic jams, and when I got onto the regular street, I kept on getting caught by the lights. The lights turned quickly on me, and they give you like a 15-minute grace period, and I was just late by a minute, and they wouldn't even see me. So I was like, oh, that's interesting, but I started thinking about it's Coltrane's birthday, September 23rd. And if you look at all these pictures or photographs of John Coltrane, you never see him show his mouth open. You never see him smiling with his teeth. You never see Coltrane really smiling with his teeth. The reason why that was because Coltrane's mouth was jacked the F up. He had a messed up grill. His grill was horrible. And he knew it. And when you see a Coltrane getting photographed, if he's smiling, he's not showing his teeth because their teeth were jacked up. And I remember reading something about Miles Davis. He was concerned when Coltrane went to the dentist to get his teeth pulled or some teeth pulled. He thought that the reason why John Coltrane sounded so unique because his teeth was all jacked up. And it was part of his embouchure. Your embouchure, where you form your mouth on your instrument. He said, okay, it got to be the teeth. Like, I said with Michael Jordan, it got to be the shoes. It got to be the shoes. It got to be the shoes. Miles was thinking, it got to be the teeth. It got to be the teeth. They jacked the fuck up. So when Miles learned that Coltrane went to the dentist to get some teeth pulled or whatever, he said, oh, well. Then he heard him play. He said, okay, he sounds fine. He sounds like Coltrane. Because Coltrane did have issues with mouthpieces. The great Coleman Hawkins used to try to help John Coltrane find a mouthpiece for him. Coleman Hawkins is the father of jazz saxophone, and he's Coleman Hawkins is a giant. I remember my grandfather was alive because he remember hearing like Coleman Hawkins when he was in the army. He used to go to Central Avenue when he was in the army. This is during World War II. Central Avenue was like the Beale Street out the West Coast, like it was like Black Wall Street, Central Avenue in L.A. And I also times played Coleman Hawkins towards the end of his life. He said, oh, that's Coleman Hawkins, fella. I said, I wonder how you doing. I said, Granddad, Coleman Hawkins died in 1969. Coleman Hawkins dead, fella? I can't believe it. Coleman Hawkins died back in 1969. My grandfather passed away in 2005. But, yeah, Coltrane had issues with his mouthpiece because his teeth were so messed up. But anyway, I remember this. Coltrane let me know. You know what I'm saying? Well, the ancestor would let me know, hey, man, there's bigger things to be attending to besides your teeth. I want to keep my teeth as long as possible, as many as I can. So, yeah, I'll think about Coltrane. But think about it. You never see a Coltrane picture with his mouth open, smiling. And if you do see one, you see the reason why he didn't want to show his teeth. But anyway, that's either. But I love Coltrane. I meditated on Coltrane, and Coltrane, he just basically what you can learn from Coltrane is to never give up. Never give up, no matter how dark it get, how low you get. Never give up because it ain't over till it's over. And Coltrane, even when he died at 40, had so much more to give and go. But like Coltrane, one of them guys, is a lot of people want to sound like Coltrane. They'll never be Coltrane. It's only God only made one Jimi Hendrix, and God only made one John Coltrane, Saint John Coltrane. He actually got a church out in Cali, I believe, in San Francisco. They've been moving around a little bit. They got a Coltrane church. He's a saint. He should be a saint. He is. Coltrane was amazing, is amazing, and will be forever young. So I can't believe I spent 40 minutes talking about John Coltrane. But let's talk about Melvin Van Peebles, the godfather of black cinema. We lost him on Tuesday. We lose so many great people. Really, it made me realize at 41 that I have not really lived a life, and life begins at 40, I guess. Even at 41, Dick Gregory, you look at what he still had left in the tank, to go. He made it to 84. Melvin made it to 89. Melvin was born the same year as Dick Gregory. He was born August 31st, 1932 in Chicago. Dick, had some career investments in Chicago, but they were good friends from my understanding. But Dick could be hypercritical of the Black Panther Party, right? Dick was very hypercritical. He said that Huey P. Newton and Eldridge Cleaver were agents. And maybe they could. I think everybody's an agent, to be honest with you. A lot of y'all don't know y'all agents because everybody's a walking billboard for somebody else's agenda. Everybody's a walking billboard for somebody else's agenda. Simple as that. But I want to play a clip that I did with Dick talking about Melvin Van Peebles, because Dick was also the preacher in the 1995 movie Black Panther, not the Disney Marvel comic, but actually about Huey P. Newton's Black Panthers. Had a really all-star cast, even had Bobby Brown and Chris Tucker in it. You know what I'm saying? And y'all should check it out. But Dick Gregory was, I think, Reverend Slocum or something like that. I said, Dick, you talk about you so hypercritical of the Panthers. Now, Dick was not really critical of Fred Hampton. He gave Fred Hampton his props. And he would say how Fred Hampton started, sickle cell testing, free health clinics, and the breakfast program. And they got him killed. But let me play this clip I did with Dick. And it's the 25th. No, it's the 24th. I really probably get ready to go on a road trip. But I just had to do this show. And I haven't looked at the chat or the comment section right now. I've just been talking off the top of my head. So I'll check it out. But let's fine. Let's see if I can find this clip. I think I got it marked. And this is We All Be News Free Dixie for the 21st century. We all be News Free Dixie for the 21st century. Yeah, yada, 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 dee.
I want to ask like the Panther thing, because one thing that people bring up about when you talk about Huey, because like people can't, they're not used to hear this type of stuff being said like this. But they say, why did Dick Gregory do the Panther movie back in the day?
Do what?
Did the Black Panther movie that came out back in the 90s?
Wait a minute. Wait, hold. Did you see that movie?
Yes, sir. I saw that movie several times. Yes, sir. Came out.
And, Mr. Dodger from back. The black daughter.
Mm-hmm. Mario Van Peebles?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Mario said to leave, right?
Mm-hmm.
But not the... that was his son. Melvin Van Peebles was the dad.
Okay, Melvin Van Peebles was dead, yes.
I said, Melvin, why you still leave some trash like this? He said, Negro, read it and call me back. It wasn't about the Black Panthers.
Mm.
It was about the FBI bringing drugs and the CIA bringing drugs into the black community.
Mm.
Hmm?
Mm-hmm.
That's what that was about. And those of y'all who haven't seen it, go back and look at it. Hmm?
Mm-hmm.
That's how brilliant he was, man. And when you see that way back then, you see what had finally come out. He said, wow, man, Van Peebles, my man. But I knew something was wrong. There's people out here that know everything I know. I just have a platform. But long before there was these type of radios, huh? And so consequently I used it.
And that was Baba D. Gregory in his own words, beyond the grave, talking about Melvin Van Peebles and his brilliance in terms of educating the people about how drugs was put into our community via the government by utilizing the Black Panther narrative. A shout out to Brother Real Black, Brother Mike Dennis. He just had a birthday on September the 20th. Thank you for tuning in, doing some good work over there. Congratulations on the 1 million subscribers as well. But you knew Melvin Van Peebles. Actually, Real Black has known a lot of people that we have lost. Very notable people. They show you how long he's been grinding, putting in the work. I mean, he knew Biz Markie, interviewed Biz Markie, Paul Mooney, Melvin Van Peebles, Robert Downey Jr.'s father, who passed away this year. Real Black has really been on the scene, putting in the work for the people. So he is a true treasure and one of Baba's chosen, Baba D. Gregory. And so check out the Real Black channel. 1 million subscribers strong. And also I love the stuff he does with Brother Charles Woods in terms of the live streaming. And we need to support telling our stories from our perspectives. That's one thing Bill Cosby told me when I spoke with him back on August 1st of this year, that when it gets to that level of Hollywood, it's no longer in our control. We become marginalized and invisible. So really, we just got to value telling our own story by any means necessary. And really, there's no excuse why we can't do that. We don't need the validation or the certification from Hollywood to tell our stories, because our stories are better than Hollywood or science fiction movies or whatever they can come up with. They just told the truth about our people instead of fabricating BS. But it's not on them. I remember I went to a Black Writers Conference workshop. They invited some talent scouts from Nickelodeon to conduct a workshop. And Nickelodeon was saying, the people that represent Nickelodeon was saying, look, we just focus on snot, boogers, and farts. We're not focused on anything educational or enriching. We're more interested in getting the children with snot, boogers, and farts. And so you had these, hotepish woke people talking about, we got this great educational program. No, we want snot, boogers, and farts. We just want snot, boogers, and farts. Think about SpongeBob SquarePants. What is that really about? Think about a lot of things they do. And I remember when I was growing up, Bill Cosby had picture pages, right? Picture pages, come and get your picture pages. Come and get your pads and your pencils. I used to love looking at picture pages. He had that cool little pen. And I'm dating myself. Yeah, I'm old. So I can remember when they had picture pages. But they went from picture pages to snot, boogers, and farts. They went from picture pages to SpongeBob SquarePants. They went from 2Pac to Lil Nas X. We went from the hell you give little infant fucks everyone to fuck your kids. In 25 years, we went from the hell you give little infants fucks everybody or everyone to fuck your kids. You can't tell me that COINTELPRO is not alive and well. Operation Mockingbird, that stuff. You understand? So this is where we at. And this is why I guess I'm going to keep on doing some of these things. Like I'm actually doing other stuff offline. And really people don't understand. It's very taxing because I'm in a place where you don't get no love. People keep on saying, well, you popular. I'm not popular. If I was popular, I would have more subscribers. I would have more people helping me manifest things that benefit a lot more people besides myself. I'm tolerated because I refuse to give up. That's a difference between being popular and being tolerated. I'm just tolerated. And the world is not fair. It is what it is. But I want to play something that Melvin Van Peebles, not Melvin Van Peebles, Mario Van Peebles said about his father. And I think, and we're gonna get back to more of honoring Melvin Van Peebles. I'm really behind my schedule because just everything I'm doing, I'm talking about top of my head. I don't. People say, "Well, I got to prepare for a show." I don't prepare for shows. I'm freestyle. That's part of who we are as a people. We can improv like that. Well, at least I can. I don't know about. I can't. I don't do. I don't take no notes. When I interview people, I just talk off the top of my head because everything is connected. Everything's interrelated. So once you figure that life is just a big learning lesson, things can better work out in your favor. But I want to play what, like I said, I'm not looking at the comment section right now. I'll look at it as we get deep. This is stuff I haven't even touched on that I want to touch on. But yeah, man, y'all, it's crazy out here. Just it's not just you. It's a lot of people going through it right now. A lot of my friends are leaving. I lost a lot of people this year and last year. It's like it's hurting me more this year than it did last year. Now this year is like, man, last year was like a sucker punch, but this year is like you see all this shit going and coming, you can't do nothing about it. It's like, damn, I can't do nothing. I don't want to say hopeless or helpless, but you know, if people are feeling down and out, I would say I understand. I know how that feels, but also as I feel down and out, I'm not out. I'm not gonna give up, give in, or give out. There's too much work to do for me to always, you know, feel down in the dumps or even feel sorry for myself. Because at the end of the day, 100 years from now, people don't really care or know if you was going through some shit. To me, it's all about the end product. That's how I look at it. I'm just trying to find. I got a lot of different tabs open. There's some stuff I want to play. Hopefully, it won't cost me too much. But it is what it is. Life is really interesting right now. But y'all need to take care of, look out for each other, especially black people. I want to say the Haitian thing. I want to talk about the Haiti thing a little bit. And like it's a lot of stuff I would like to cover, and time go by really fast. So, like I said, I'm talking on top of my dome, but we did talk about Coltrane, and we're talking about Melvin Van Peebles right now. So I think we're gonna be okay. This is We All Be News Free Dixie for the 21st century. Just trying to feed my people. Dick Riggins, I'm the feeder. Trying to live up to it, but we'll see. But this is Melvin Van Peebles talking about his father, the aftermath of him transitioning to a righteous ancestor. So listen to the words he's talking about, and we'll go from there. We All Be News Free Dixie for the 21st century. Yay, yay.
A lot of you have been hitting me up asking me how Melvin Van Peebles died. Well, as the so-called godfather of modern black Sula, he's not just my dad, he's your dad too. So if it's okay with you, I'll share a little bit with you. My brother and my sister and I realized that Dad was getting old. We got on a plane, we flew to New York, got our butts here. I felt very strongly that Dad would not want to pass to the hospital, and I was lucky enough to get him home. And when he came through the door, he had such a look of relief and joy on his face that I just let that wash over me. And I wanted to stay in the same room with him. And he has a little bed, and there's a cot in there, and I slept on the cot beside him. And around 2:30 a.m., for some reason I woke up. I felt something, and I went over to Dad, and I didn't turn the light on. I put my hand on his chest, and I said, "Daddy, I love you." And he had stopped breathing. And as I looked closer, the look on his face did not look like a man who was afraid of death. It looked like a man who had gone his way in his time. And, what a class way out. I thought, Man, be so lucky to go out with my family close by, at home, peacefully. Sometimes we think of death as a tragedy. People are calling it, saying, I'm so sorry, I'm so sorry. And we think of birth as a miracle, but maybe birth and death are just different sides of the same mortality coin. None of us are going to live very good ever, and none of us gets out of here alive. So how are we going to go out? Well, he demystified it a little bit for me. Growing up with him, I saw a life well lived, fully lived. And I think the real tragedy might be not doing what you came here to do in this lifetime. And no, man, Peebles, man, your dad, he came and he did his thing. And, he would say to all of you, keep on keeping on. Keep teaching each other. Try to teach and mentor someone who doesn't always look like you, vote like you, think like you, make a difference. Make sure you tell our story, so it's not just his story, it is our story. Daddy said to me, some fathers will teach you how to play ball. I'm going to try to teach you how to own the team. So many good lessons. And I know he wanted to tell me that he loves you all. And if you want to do him any service, get out there and keep making a difference. Your daddy loves you.
Like father, like son. That's Melvin Van Peebles' son, Myron Van Peebles, talking about his famous father. It kind of remind me of the relationship, I guess, Kirk Douglas had with his son, Michael Douglas, so to speak. And it's good to see that, because black fathers matter. And Melvin loved his son. You could tell he was very proud of his son. And, they were able to work together on some things as well. And his son learned from the best, So Melvin Van Peebles, man. I remember in college, I watched Sweetback's Badass Song. And really, Melvin Van Peebles is the godfather of black cinema as well as the father of black exploitation. Even though there's a word that I know a lot of kids don't like using, black exploitation, it's kind of like a lot of the great jazz musicians like Max Roach and Duke and Miles didn't care for the term jazz either, because who really come up with these terms? Those who control the resources, who control the institutions. It wasn't Ike Turner or Bobby Rush or Howlin' Wolf or Little Richard Chuck Berry. They didn't call it rock and roll. It was that white boy DJ from Ohio named Alan Freed. He came up with the term rock and roll, right? But a lot of them cats saw it as R&B. I'm reading a great book right now. Y'all need to go get this book by my man Bobby Rush, the one that that's better looking and also more talented. I kid. I ain't studying you. My American Blues Story by Bobby Rush. This is a great read. It's like, if you know anything, I'm a Bobby Rush fan. You know anything about Bobby Rush, he's one of the last blues men, one of the last ones standing. This man's still almost 90 years old, do over 200 performances a year, just won Grammys in his 80s. I mean, this man been doing this stuff for 60 plus years. He just won a Grammy. He just won a couple of Grammys not too long ago. And he's still going strong. But if you look at this guy, you never know all the hell he caught over his years of living on this planet. But he's such a good-natured guy. But you got to think about, we lost Michael Jackson before he was 50. We just lost Prince, and he was still young. And Bobby Rush is still doing it. The man was a part of the Rabbit Foot minstrel show back in the day. So he was a part of a minstrel show, when they were blacking up their faces and stuff. And it took Jimmy Fallon, what's his name, Jimmy Fallon or O'Fallon, on the Tonight Show. That was his first time being on Tonight Show several years ago with Jimmy Fallon. Jimmy Fallon got in trouble for wearing blackface, right? So it's kind of like a full circle thing. But he performed with the Roots and stuff like that. But Bobby Rush is an amazing man. We're going to be honoring him this year for the Jimmy Lunsford Legacy Awards. We're going to hold it on Halloween night down the Hollering Theater near Beale Street, right next to the Orpheum Theater. We are moving on up, y'all. We are going into the stratosphere. And I just saw Brother Bobby Rush about a couple of Fridays ago down at Port Gibson for Lil Green Day, another unsung black music genius who died too young. She died in her 30s, but They had a little green day, and Bobby Rush came by to sign some books and tell his story, make it plain. So I got a whole bunch of these books for family and friends and stuff like that. So Bobby was really surprised to see me. But one thing I like about Mr. Rush is that it ain't over till it's over. Like, he went the long way to get where he needs to go, but he's there and he's not letting go. And he's really what you would call, in the period of his life, called the Uranus return. Let's call Uranus return when you're in your 80s. If you live long enough, you start to receive your flowers and your just due. So he has lived long enough, and now he is finally receiving his flowers. So it's an honor to be honoring him. And we're going to live stream that historic event. I think on the We All Be TV channel. Hopefully, it'll be, it should be on this channel. Well, we're going through a Mercury retrograde, so we're going to make sure everything gets situated. So we actually had the 2020 Jimmy Lawrence for Legacy Award show on June of this year, on Jimmy Lawrence's birthday, because we couldn't have it because of the stuff going on in the world last year. We didn't have no live, like, normal festival thing, but we waited. So we're going to have 2 Jimmy Lawrence for Legacy Award shows in 1 year, and this one's going to be fantastic because we'll be featuring this man, Mr. I Ain't Studying Yet, Bobby Rush. But like he said, don't care. They didn't call it rock and roll back in the day. They called it rhythm and blues. And his thing is folk funk. That's what he do. Folk funk. And Brother Bug Shelton, I hope you feel better. There's a lot of things going on. Take care of yourself. Self-preservation is still important because they don't really care about us. We are on our own, like Patti LaBelle. I'm on my own. So we out there by our lonely as black people. And we're going to talk a little bit about that, what's going on with the Haitian situation. But, yeah, sweet back, badass song. This is another thing. Bill Cosby invested in that movie. Because, like, there's a biopic called Badass where Mario Van Peebles plays his father, and it deals with the making of Sweet Back, Badass song. And how Bill Cosby gave him that loan to help get the movie off the ground. And, the movie, I think, cost like $500,000 to make, end up making $10 million at the box office. It was like the most successful independent film at that time. Made $10 million off of $500,000, but Bill Cosby played a part in that. Kind of like, no matter what people try to do to Bill Cosby, his legend just grows and grows like Tupac. No matter how people want to shit on Tupac now, Tupac gave Biggie his start. Tupac gave Omar, Chalky White, Mr. Michael K. Williams, his start. So you can never dismiss Tupac like you could never dismiss Mr. Bill Cosby. And also Earth, Wind, and Fire, they did the soundtrack for Sweet Back, Badass song. And here's the thing, people come on Chicago. No, Maurice White, the founder of Earth, Wind, and Fire, he's from Memphis. He was born and raised in Memphis. He went to Booker T. Washington High School right down the street from me. His band director was W.T. McDaniel. Y'all want to say he's Chicago? No, he's from Memphis. Earth, Wind, and Fire is from Memphis. Matter of fact, I had talked to David Porter. He was part of that songwriting team with Isaac Hayes at Stax. He basically laid it out on my camera how Maurice White shared with him his idea to start this group called Earth, Wind, and Fire. These are Memphis cats. Everything run through Memphis. I don't care what nobody say. Everything run through Memphis. Okay? And I can keep on proving it. But anyway. Yeah, but I saw that movie. It was fascinating. Because like Melvin Van Peebles even said that they were going to make Shaft a white man before Sweet Back, Badass song came out. So they made, our anti-hero, he was a revolutionary, but they made him to a cop. They made him to a pimp because with the movie Shaft and Superfly. And really it was blaxploitation movies that saved Hollywood. Hollywood was about to go the way of the dinosaur until black folks, blaxploitation movies came out. And black folks, once again, we always saving everybody but ourselves and get no credit for it. So Hollywood owes a debt to blaxploitation movies, not to The Godfather, not to all them Peter Bogdanoviches and the Francis Ford Coppola's and the George Lucas's and the Spielbergs and the Scorsese's. It was black people that saved Hollywood. Nobody else. Nobody but black people. So it started with Melvin Van Peebles' Sweetback badass song, but also he did Watermelon Man with Godfrey Cambridge, great comedian. We don't even talk about Godfrey Cambridge. There's another Godfrey out there, but I'm talking about the original Godfrey Cambridge. Watermelon Man. Then Melvin Van Peebles directed, where it talked about a white businessman waking up black, played by Godfrey Cambridge, and he died so young. But there's a lot to this. But one thing about, they say when an old person dies, library dies with them. I don't think so. I think that Melvin Van Peebles left. He gave it all he had. He left everything out there for us to consume for generations to come. It's like I thank him for that. For that example. It's like with Baba D. Gregory. The cats both were born 1932, sons of the Great Depression, but they left a surplus of information and inspiration for all of us to access, artifacts that would transcend generations, that would teach and teach and teach for a long time to come. So I don't know what an extraordinary, like Gordon Parks. You think about these cats, and you think about Coltrane. A lot of these cats, they look within themselves to access something, to manifest. A lot of us like to look outside of ourselves, but we should be looking inside of ourselves. We should really ask questions like, what do we really want? What do you want? And how do you want it? And when do you want it? Because really, your life is your movie. You are the director, the screenwriter, the producer of your movie. You're the lead of your movie. You're the supporting cast of your movie. Your life is your movie. You can make it what you want. It could be a horror movie. It could be a comedy, a romance, a bromance, whatever you want to make it. It's your story. How you want to tell your story? Do you get the glory? So I mean, it's something. But I remember the opening Sweetback Badass song, right? They got the young anti-hero in a whorehouse getting him some, and like the younger character is played by Melvin Van Peebles' son, Mario Van Peebles. I think he lost his virginity during the filming of that movie. I'm not sure. So I don't think Melvin, they were trying to get him to talk about Bill Cosby. Look, man, he good people. I don't have nothing to say. But I heard somewhere Mario lost his virginity. He had a sweet back. Like the lady said, you got a sweet back. He be stroking the way you be doing. Be stroking. But anyway, y'all should check out Sweetback Badass song. Interesting movie. It changed the game. And it's like it kind of remind me of Ike Turner. I don't think Melvin Van Peebles or Ike Turner or black men who are creative geniuses get enough credit for being creative geniuses. Like you look at what Ike Turner did with Jackie Brenston and his Delta Cats. Really was Ike Turner, called Rocket 88. That song about an Oldsmobile car, where people believe this was the first rock and roll song. But Ike Turner, them still call it R&B. But people shit on Ike. It's like this country, they love shitting on black men. No matter how much we give and what we contribute, they even program our women and our family. I mean, it's just weird, that people can't see what's going on. I never, ain't no other group of people that men are shitted on like black men by our own kind. And the thing about it is, like people say, well, Melvin, I know I talked to his beautiful sister. She said, well, he married a white woman. He did all that pro-black and black empowerment. I said, look, I'm single right now. I'm not dating. And it's hard, when you think the way I think. If I thought like everybody else, I would have killed myself alone. No disrespect. Ain't no way in hell I could think I'm going to put on these type of like next level shows. If I thought like how everybody else saw themselves, low self-esteem, little prospects and stuff like that, I think different. And I thank God that I got a different way of viewing the world. And I don't mind sharing that with people, but it's a lonely existence doing what I do. Even to tell the truth a little bit gets you alienated from the masses. And people a lot of times don't appreciate what you do until you're gone. It's like Melvin Van Peebles. People could not appreciate the totality of what he contributed until he just left the planet not too long ago. Because a lot of times you are in the way of people viewing you as a exceptional person. It's like, I have no problem believing when I leave this planet, there'll be some interest in what I have done and what I have left behind. I have no, it's not, I already know it's going to be a part. I already know. But if people had a time machine and they see how I was living, like, damn, but we see him like this, but he was living like that. It's like, we see him like this. It's like with Robert Johnson. He's the king of the blues, Delta blues. Hell, Robert Johnson didn't even have a car. He did a song about Terraplane blues, the Terraplane car. You know what I'm saying? He probably know how to drive a car. Cause a lot of times he got around on trains, hoboing and stuff, going up and down trains and all that stuff, hitchhiking. He didn't have no car, but his biggest hit was Terraplane Blues, and probably sold over 5,000 copies during his lifetime. And he was not that well known. People act like Robert Johnson was so famous when he was alive. He died at 27 in the Great Depression, August 16th, 1938, under questionable circumstances down in Mississippi. He was not that famous. Matter of fact, he was not famous. It was interesting though. But John Heyman, the producer at Columbia who discovered Billie Holiday, Count Basie, Aretha Franklin, Bruce Springsteen, Bob Dylan, and so many other people. John Hammond, who was a Vanderbilt, who was really had a lot of black people in his background, but he was white, who was the brother-in-law of Benny Goodman, the so-called King of Swing. He actually knew of Robert Johnson based on his recordings. He actually sent a scout down south to find Robert Johnson. He wanted Robert Johnson to be a part of his 1938 Spiritual to Swing concert at Carnegie Hall. And so the dude told him, hey, Robert Johnson died some months ago. And then what John Heyman did allegedly was he took a record player, a patrol or whatever, and placed it in the middle of the stage in Carnegie Hall and played Robert Johnson's record or records, I don't know. But Robert Johnson didn't really get the renown until decades later after he passed, when the British invasion. I'm talking about people like Eric Clapton and Keith Richards, Rolling Stones, the Beatles, all these guys, looked at him for inspiration. That's when he started getting all that glory decades after he died at 27. So he didn't even enjoy all this stuff. So people look at Robert Johnson now, he's a music guy. Nobody know who he was. Another dead nigga in the Delta under questionable circumstances. Niggas die every day. So that was Robert Johnson reality was. It wasn't what people think it is. Like, oh man, Ron lived this great life, artivist and all this, whatever. Take out the trash, nigga. But anyway, that's how it goes, man. I was like, hey, God is funny. But anyway, it is what it is. Well, like I said, Bob Rush we just call it R&B. It wasn't rock and roll. And about black women, see the thing about black women, y'all raised the men. Y'all the first teachers of the men or the males. Black women have been used to divide their own families, to undermine our unity. And it's just not nothing knock against black women. This is facts. I'm not like when, black men pay a lot into child support. They pay more into child support than any group of men in the country. But yet black men are labeled the deadbeat dads. They labeled the boogeymen of all societal ills. But black men, we can't have no family without black men being strong. We got to really start investing in our black men. And we got to want males to want to be men. We got to have a real rites of passage. This is why I do the things I do, to talk about some of the black men like Jimmy Lunsford, who saw it as their duty to raise boys into men, but he used music to do it, to help instill discipline and ambition in these guys. And we don't have that now. We don't have males who want to be men in terms of being responsible, being accountable, and treating women right. And I understand, but black women must understand the role they play in helping to raise boys and to be men. Everybody, we all been abused. The point is, we all have been abused. We have not been respected as full human beings in this system because it does not benefit us to be treated as such. So when we talk about we want reparations, I mean, y'all keep on bringing receipts to the devil. The devil know you in hell. Hey, we know it's hell for y'all. We created a hell for y'all. Y'all keep on telling us that we've been wrong. Hell is hell. It's heaven for us, but it's hell for y'all. What's that song that Calypso Louis, no disrespect to Louis Farrakhan, he did that song back in the day, white man's heaven and black man hell. You live in the hell. Or what Wu-Tang Clan said, don't believe. What do you believe in, heaven or hell? You don't believe in heaven because you live in hell. So we all catching hell. But what I'm saying is, if you want to get liberated, we must have strong black men. Because like even when y'all talking about, I remember I was at I did that panel discussion on Sunday. And it got really heated on my end because you had a person up there who's a good woman from what I mean, she does good works in the community. But she basically was saying, well, the black woman vote is saving the black family and saving the black race. I'm saying the black woman vote has betrayed the black family. Y'all have been used as pawns in your own destruction. And she got heated. She said, she tried to knock me out. I said, lady, first of all, you said you gonna knock me out because I got a different point of view as you, from you, and also you put your hands on me. And now I wasn't threatened, but I'm saying, what if I did what she did to me? What if I said I'm gonna knock you out for having that point of view and start touching her? Can you imagine how they would have rushed the stage to hold me back or kick me off the panel discussion? So what I'm saying is, we got to get the right information out there, man. Because really, Judge Joe Brown didn't show up. He had some other stuff going on. But what if Judge was there? What if Dr. Randy Short was there? They would have tore up. I was nice. I was respectful. I was saying, man, I disagree. Because she was talking about how she confronted this black male, this young black male in the store. He was cursing up a storm, calling women bitches and all this stuff. And she said, like, she got that spirit of Harriet Tubman. She confronted him. And she said, well, why you calling black women bitches? He said, well, I ain't talking about you, but you calling women. I said, first of all, you don't know that man's pain or story. You don't know how his mama treated him or mistreated him. You don't know what his issue is with women. He didn't say all black men. He said you were talking about a certain one. Why you didn't follow up and say who is that certain one or ones were? See, there was no concern for his mental well-being and stuff like that. I mean, I'm just saying. But yet, you pointing fingers at black men, but it was black men that fought and died in the Civil War for the right to vote. It wasn't white women. It wasn't black women. It was black men who died for the right to have the vote. So why not? So they should have got the right to vote, right? And a lot of black women back in the day said, look, our men must be strong. It's like when people say, I'm an Ida B. Wells. How you going to be the Ida B. Wells and you hate black men? Ida B. Wells loved black men. Her father was a strong black man. He was a carpenter, and he was a leader of the black community down there in Holly Springs. Her best friend was a strong black man who got lynched by white folks for being a successful businessman, Thomas Moss. He was a leader of the black community, had a young family, and he took care of business. So Ida B. Wells, and so how can you say or Harriet Tubman? Harriet Tubman loved the brothers. She was married twice to black men, and her second husband was younger than her, and she outlived him by some years. But I'm saying she loved for brothers to be strong. Anybody who's a black leader want black folks, women, man, and child to be at their best, to be the best versions of themselves. You cannot confess to be a black leader when you hate certain segments of black people or the black family. So I mean, it's interesting, but it got heated, and I love it. And it was interesting after the program. It was women and men that appreciate what I had to say. Because my thing is, let me grow my beard back if they're going to keep on trying to force us into dresses. Ain't nothing wrong with being who you are. My thing is, why is all this attention to black men being put in dresses? Like with Russell Westbrook, you did this great documentary about Black Wall Street. And really what you talk about when black masculinity stands up, everybody got to take a back seat to it. Because you got to understand, because we don't teach our history, we talk about critical race theory, but you know that the black men were whipping asses during Black Wall Street massacre. And the tide only turned when the black men turned themselves in to the National Guard or to the so-called authorities and turned over their guns. That's how the white mob was able to destroy Black Wall Street within a matter of a day. But if you listen to the survivor, they talk about how the black men were killing so many white guys that they were throwing them into the river. They're just throwing all these white folks into the river to cover up the actual tally, you know. But I'm saying, like, we gotta really look at, because I look at, because a lot of people don't read books. Just look at Goodbye Uncle Tom or Farewell Uncle Tom, that movie docudrama thing. It's very. I looked at it one time. I looked at the director's cut, and it was like, oh my god! It came out around the same time as Sweetback There song. It was made by some Italians, but it basically based it on newspaper articles and journals and diaries, primary sources about slavery in America, and the stuff was so graphic. You know, they said they showed it in a theater in Harlem and had a cause to ride. So it should be Farewell Uncle Tom, Goodbye Uncle Tom, something like that. Yeah, but I mean, everybody, we in pain. I think I have, like, after this year and surviving 2020 and going through 2021, I have become an advocate for, like, black people getting therapy, get individual as well as collective therapy. I'm working on my own situation right now. Hang in there, Sunshine. You good people. Sister Sunshine is a good person. And a lot of times, the world ain't fair. Good people should have good things happen to them more than bad things. And just want to encourage Sunshine. You are appreciated by me, sister. I have no problem with this. You know, sometimes your haters are your biggest fans. Hang in there. Thank you for being a moderator. It does hurt. It hurts all. It don't just hurt young black. It hurts the family. When our men are not doing right, and you got to think about it. I always tell people, you can't name me one town in America that was founded by black women. What all black town that was ever founded by black women? Now you have black women that thrive in these all black towns, like in Black Wall Street. I mean, like, you know, not black town, but I'm saying, like, you know, black. You got to have men to create a safe space for people to be able to thrive. Black women don't have to go to black men for anything. Other races of women have to go through their men to get certain things. Black women have been programmed and conditioned not to be able to relate or depend on their man for any type of thing in terms of their existence and survival. It's been programmed and conditioned where people, I don't know why people can't see it for what it is. It's been going on for 50 plus years now, 60 years now, where they have basically tried to eliminate the effectiveness of black men in within the black family. Even if you look at a show like The Chi, I looked at all 4 seasons. I even honored Lena Waithe when I saw her give a Lifetime Achievement Award. Kind of like some of the things she have done in terms of helping black folks in front of and behind the camera. But if you look at the show The Chi, the only functional relationships seem to be homosexual ones. So you tell me the majority of people who live in Chicago, black people in Chicago, are gay? And if you are hetero, that your relationships are dysfunctional? It's like you look at the kid who's the star in The Chi. His problem, why he's acting out the way he is and becoming an alcoholic and a druggie, is because he had no father in the home. There's no strong black man influence in his life. It's nothing but estrogen, and estrogen is disguised as testosterone that's parading all around him. So you know he's confused. Even how he deal with women, love interests, what he decides to put up with and don't put up with, even not understanding who he is, even being ashamed sometimes. It comes like he don't have enough of a black man influence in his life. If you look at the character Emmett, Emmett Till's mom named after Emmett Till. Emmett Till was he was a man child according to the white boys, right? He was a child acting like a man. Oh yeah, I'm a man. Yeah, I talk to your wife and I whistle. That's how they want to pretend. See, black boys are not allowed to be boys at all. Tamir Rice was never a boy. he was always a man. Even though he was, how old was Tamir Rice? 12 or 14? Emmett was 14, but he was a man. You know, Mike Brown just graduated from high school. Man, child, he's just a man. All, you know, black boys are never allowed to be boys. And really, we are in a state of arrested development when it comes to black males. But how can Emmett help old boy in the Shy when he trying to learn how to do? He didn't have a father there. His father was in his Peter Pan complex as well. You know, he's Johnny come lately, but you know, he probably had his father not there for him. It's a cycle, it's generational curses that's continued. But what the Shy proves to me that you need black men. Black men need to be present in the lives of black children and black families. A lot of males don't know how to be men. There's no rites of passage. You know, going to prison is the rites of passage for having a lot of babies by different women is a rites of passage, but it's like it's dysfunctional. It goes back to those chains of slavery with the sex farms, being a stud, you know, getting bred like horses. This stuff is real. That's why I say y'all can look at Farewell Uncle Tom, or sometimes they call it Goodbye Uncle Tom. And I'm not even close to where I need to be going. I'm sorry to hear that, bro, but I mean, Dr. Short out there. I mean, he hard to reach. Dr. Short is out there. Matter of fact, let me play some Dr. Short. Sorry to hear that. There's a lot of people going through stuff right now, man. I mean, right now, there is. Look, Bobby Dick Gregory said it best. He said that playtime's over, recess over. Playtime's up. It's over, man. They're not playing with us no more. They showing who they really are and what really mean to them. So good bring up Dr. Short. Man, I'm not being manipulated. We all been manipulated. And I'm not gonna be. My thing is not to bash anybody. My thing is to get to an understanding why we are at where we at right now as a people. But y'all spoke of Dr. Short. Let me see. Let me finish. Let me finish Melvin Van Peebles right quick. Not finish, but I think the Hollywood Reporter did a great job of highlighting his accomplishments. I want to read a little bit from the Hollywood Report. Then we'll go to Dr. Short. That's a good segue. And Stella Merrill got a YouTube channel too. She got a YouTube channel, so that's Sweet Back Badass song. Y'all need to go check it out. You know, very prolific guy. Will be missed, but he left a lot of work that we need to catch up on. I mean, he was ahead of the game. I hear people talking about, well, he was married to a white woman or a German. They said German. Well, you know, Sidney Poitier and Harry Belafonte, their wives were first black women. You know, Frederick Douglass had a black wife who he had a family with. It's tricky right now. I just don't. Is that saying, don't throw away the baby with the bathwater type of thing? I mean, if you look at even TV for a little bit, they really pushing interracial marriages, especially with white men and black women. Y'all always talking about, well, the brothers won't go to white girl. I see a lot of TV commercials with white women. I mean, with black women and white men being pushed. Hell, I went to school with people, several couples I know, black women marrying white men, having babies with them. So I mean, it is what it is. People do what they do. But my thing is, like I said, I don't know. I mean, John Coltrane's wife was black. I mean, people make these choices, man. I don't throw away everything. But let me read something from a Hollywood Reporter, and we'll move on to Dr. Short. And really, I didn't even get to all I wanted to get to. But maybe I have, but there's so much to cover. But oh my God, What would the neighbors think? They probably hear everything. Melvin Van Peebles, godfather of black cinema, dies at 89. He directed Watermelon Man, did everything on Sweetback's Badass Song, and wrote a pair of Broadway musicals. So this came out September 22nd, written by Mike Barnes. Melvin Van Peebles, the pioneering African-American auteur behind the 1970 films Watermelon Man and Sweetback's Badass Song, has died. He was 89. Van Peebles, the father of actor-director Mario Van Peebles, died Tuesday night at his home in Manhattan. His family, the Criterion Collection, and Janus Films announced his death in a statement. In an unparalleled career distinguished by relentless innovation, boundless curiosity, and spiritual empathy, Melvin Van Peebles made an indelible mark on the international cultural landscape through his films, novels, plays, and music, the statement read. His work continues to be essential and is being celebrated at the New York Film Festival this weekend with a 50th anniversary screening of his landmark film, Sweetback's Badass Song, a Criterion Collection box set, Melvin Van Peebles, Essential Films next week, and a revival of his play Ain't Supposed to Die a Natural Death, slated for a return to Broadway next year. Considered by many to be the godfather of modern black cinema, Van Peebles was an influential link to a younger generation of African-American filmmakers that includes Spike Lee and John Singleton. The Chicago native also was a novelist, theater impresario, songwriter, musician, and painter. Van Peebles was living in Paris when the first feature he wrote and directed, The Story of a 3-Day Pass, attracted attention and put him on the radar at Columbia Pictures. The studio selected him to direct Watermelon Man, 1970, a racial satire that starred Godfrey Cambridge as Jeff Gerber, a bigoted white insurance salesman who goes to the bathroom in his suburban home in the middle of the night and discovers he's black. Very few African Americans were directed in Hollywood at the time. On the strength of that movie's success, Columbia offered Van Peebles a 3-picture deal, but wanted no part of his next project, Sweetback's Badass Song, released 1971. Helped by a $50,000 loan from Bill Cosby, he wrote, directed, produced, scored, and edited the renegade film while starring as his anti-hero, a ladies' man with superhero love-making abilities who battles the corrupt white establishment in Los Angeles. Van Peebles made Sweetback in 19 days for a reported $500,000. It opened in only 2 venues in Atlanta and Detroit, but fueled by strong word of mouth from working class African Americans and a soundtrack of music performed by Earth, Wind, and Fire. The picture raked in more than $10 million, making it the highest grossing independent film in history at the time. The opening credits note that the star of the film is the black community. In a 1997 book about the movie, Mario notes in the introduction that his father was forced to self-finance, constantly on the brink of ruin. His crew got arrested and jailed, death threats, and yet at first he refused to submit his film to the all-white MPAA ratings board for approval. The film didn't receive an X rating. My dad, true to form, printed t-shirts that read rated X by an all-whites jury and made it part of his marketing campaign. The New York Times called Van Peebles the first black man in show business to beat the white man in his own game, and Sweetback ushered in the blaxploitation era in Hollywood. Before his film, Shaft was going to be about a white detective, Van Peebles said. Let me read it again. Before his film, Shaft, with Richard Roundtree, was going to be a white detective, Van Peebles said. After Sweetback, Van Peebles brought Ain't Supposed to Die a Natural Death, his musical about black urban life, to Broadway, and received Tony nominations for Best Book and Best Original Score in 1972. A year later, he received another book nom for Don't Play Us Cheap, centering on a devil who attempts to break up a party in Harlem. The 2 musicals garnered 9 Tony noms in all on nominations. Van Peebles also directed a 1973 film version of Don't Play Us Cheap, as well as the action comedy Identity Crisis, 1989, which starred his son. Him and appeared with Mario in Posse. That's a great movie. 1993, a Western by African American soldiers who mutiny against their racist white officer and contributed a song, Cruel Jim Crow, to that movie. Van Peebles had a writing credit on the stock car biopic Grease Lightning, 1977, starring Richard Pryor, and adapted his novel about the growth of the Black Panther Party into the 1995 movie Panther that was directed by his son. In 2003, he was portrayed by Mario in Badass, a son's homage to his dad. And 2 years later, Van Peebles was the subject of a documentary, How to Eat Your Watermelon in White Company and Enjoy It. The son of a tailor, Melvin Van Peebles was born on August 21st, 1932. He graduated from Ohio Wesleyan in 1953 with a degree in literature, served for nearly 4 years in the U.S. Air Force, and married a German woman. After his discharge, he worked as a portrait painter in Mexico, then moved to San Francisco, where he ran cable cars. Van Peebles also made 3 short films, beginning with The Slice of Life, 3 Pickup Man for Herrick, 1957, which he hoped would serve as his calling card into the motion picture industry. But when he was unable to find directorial work in L.A., he, his wife, and their children, Megan and Mario, moved to Europe. In Holland, he studied with the Dutch National Theater, did some acting, and added a Van to his last name. After his marriage dissolved, Van Peebles headed to Paris, where he authored 5 novels and wrote and directed his first feature, La Permission, an adaptation of his novel about a love affair between an African-American soldier and a French woman. It won acclaim in Europe, was retitled The Story of a 3-Day Pass for U.S. audiences, and chosen as the French entry for the San Francisco Film Festival in 1967. Wow. It was well received by critics and festival goers, but few knew that the filmmaker behind 3-Day Pass was American and black. Got a little bit more to read, not that much. That's amazing. You talking about shape shifting. Him and Dick Gregory was good friends, born in 1932. Both got Chicago connected. And also Sam Greenlee, who had the privilege and pleasure of interviewing a couple times. He's a Chicago native. That's the kid who wrote The Spook Who Sat by the Door, which became a controversial movie with the same name. In a 2014 interview, Van Peebles said he insisted that the star Watermelon Man be a black actor. The character is only white in the first 20 minutes of the movie. You think a white guy can play black, but a black guy can't play white? He asked Columbia execs. Did a reverse Tropic Thunder, huh? He also changed the ending of Herman Rocher's original script, which has the Biggie waking up from a nightmare and back as a white guy. Being black is not going to be a bad dream, he said. Van Peebles did promise the producers that he would film the original ending as well, giving them a choice, but then, quote, forgot, unquote, to do that. A close-up of Cambridge butt is the first sign that informs the audience that something crazy has happened to Jeff Gerber overnight. Van Peebles also did the music for the movie and appears in a cameo as a sign painter when Gerber opens his own business. To get the owners, twin brothers of the Detroit Theater, to open Sweetback, Van Peebles bet them a new suit, certain that his film would bring in more money than the movie they had at the time. He won. Before a screening of the film in April 2018 at the TMC, or Turner Classic Movies, or Turner, Classic Film Festival, Van Peebles said, "I haven't had this much fun with clothes on in many years." Van Peebles also was in such films as Robert Altman's O.C. and Stiggs, Jaws: The Revenge, Reginald Hudlin's Boomerang, Last Action Hero, The Hebrew Hammer, and Peebles. On television, he starred with Mario on the short-lived Stephen J. Cannell NBC comedy Sunny Spoon, and appeared on All My Children, In the Heat of the Night, Living Single, that was classic, and Girlfriends. Van Peebles won a Daytime Emmy and Humanitas Prize in 1987 for writing an episode, a CBS School Break special, The Day They Came to Arrest the Books. He also was the author of Bold Money, a 1986 primer on how to trade stock options. He probably been interested to get his take on Bitcoin. Dad knew that black images matter, Mario said in a statement. If a picture is worth 1,000 words, what was a movie worth? We want to be the success we see. Thus, we need to see ourselves being free. True liberation did not mean imitating the colonizers' mentality. It meant appreciating the power, beauty, and interconnectivity of all people. Dwayne Bridge, contributed to this report. So, yeah, I just wanted to read the Hollywood report. I know it's a long read, but just wanted to read that because I think they did a great job of just summarizing this guy's amazing legacy. And he did his thing. So, thank you, Alquan. Okay. Yeah, I like, y'all, the moderators, y'all be kind to people. I still believe in freedom of speech because I'm not seeing everything that's going on, but be considerate. When y'all, I guess, deleting posts or deleting people chats, I'm not seeing everything. But with that said, what a life, what a life, what a life. I thank you, Elder Jegna Melvin Van Peebles, for being true to thy own self, be true. And then he was a genius. He was a real creative genius because he took a chance on himself. He was willing to share his vision with the world by any means necessary. And that's what it takes because, I remember seeing the biopic Badass that Mario Van Peebles did. It's worth seeing. Talk about the making of how he had to make Sweetback Badass. And he did that movie in only 19 days. Had to raise money and it made over $10 million. What they talking about when you go to Vegas, always bet on black, right? But y'all think black is a bad word. If you in business, to be in the black is better than to be in the red. To be in the black mean that's good business. Okay, I mean, I do what y'all do. That's all. I trust y'all judgment with the moderating. I don't know what's going on most of the time. Okay, that's fine. Y'all do what you gotta do. Thank y'all for moderating. But somebody mentioned Dr. Short. Yeah, Ohio's an interesting place. Watermelon Man. Yeah, the Panther movie was, to me, I think it was more, probably told the truth more than even the Black Messiah movie about what they tried, like it was about Fred Hampton or whatever. I don't know. But to me, that Panther movie was very powerful, what it was. And to me, like a lot of people, I don't look at movies to be necessarily history lessons, but like Picasso said it best. He said, art is a lie that make us realize truth. True art is a lie that make us realize truth. So, like when Dick Gregory talked about how, Dick was very critical of certain elements of the Panthers, then you remember I asked him, like, well, why you do that movie about the Panthers? He said, well, Melvin people said, read the script, fool. We talking about how the government basically destroyed the black community in that script. That's why he did the movie. So the truth could get out. It's like how he had to, Dick had to, when Bob Marley wanted Dick to perform with him, and Dick didn't want to perform with Bob Marley because his song Buffalo Soldier. And Dick had to, educate Bob Marley about the legacy, the painful legacy of the Buffalo Soldier. And there's nothing, we got to do a show because now, I look at Busta Rhymes, you cats trying to highlight that hip hop was created in Jamaica, and that's not true. That is not true. Where's y'all James Brown? Where, Bob Marley, he wanted to be Sam Cooke. That was Bob Marley's idol, Sam Cooke. Sam Cooke was from Mississippi. He was not from Jamaica. Where y'all Aretha Franklin at? Where y'all Chuck Berry? How y'all say this stuff was crazy? Come on, man. Marcus Garvey had to come here to get his street cred. They wouldn't accept Marcus in Jamaica. He had to come to America, and we put him on. So I mean, I ain't gonna get into too much there, but I'm saying like I remember like I saw interviews. And I like Busta Rhymes. He's a great rapper. He's one of my favorite rappers. But I remember like he was recently interviewed about Tupac and Biggie, and to me it was kind of like I don't know, you're throwing shade, but I guess because Biggie, Jamaican, his mama Jamaican, daddy Jamaican, Biggie Jamaican, so the Jamaicans gonna stick together, and Tupac, his folks, his mama from North Carolina, and she, they FBA, I guess. He's like, well, it's a way. I'm not saying he through body stick is interesting in how there's code. There's a code there. It's like but no, man, hip hop was. I mean, I know about DJ Kool Herc, but hip hop is an American product. But I mean, where is Jamaica? I mean, I know Jamaica got reggae and all that, but where are they people like our people? How you gonna have hip hop without James Brown influence? James Brown's from the Carolinas and Georgia. Interesting. Look, Gil Scott Heron, the last poets. Come on, man. Hell, you go. Bobby Rush was rapping. Hell, all them guys. I don't know, man. I'm not gonna get people want to talk about this and that. It's something about people got this envy of Black Americans, and Black Americans don't understand because we gonna be everybody's friend. But anyway, it's getting late, man. Did I cover everything that I said in my time? Short Outbursts. Dr. Randy Short. Somebody asked about that. And Dr. Randy Short ain't hard to find. But the thing about it is he has a huge target on his back because he's so free in terms of his expression and stuff like that. And Dr. Short, but every now and then I see him pop up. I'm a big fan of Dr. Short. Y'all should buy his book. If I can find it. Support Dr. Short. Buy this book. I bought several copies. I try to support people. Slavery's Mastery. Dr. Randy, this is his first book. I mean, this is a bang for your buck. Get a lot for your money. But he's working on some more books. But Dr. Short, I catch him when I catch him. I really enjoy watching Dr. Short on people's platforms. I saw enjoy his Facebook lives. I know I be getting in trouble sometimes posting these lives that he do, violate community guidelines and all that stuff. But we'll see. Yeah. Anyway, let's do Dr. Randy Short, one of his Facebook lives. And we'll see how it plays. But this is We All Be News Free Dixie for the 21st century. We All Be News Free Dixie for the 21st century. Y'all, Dr. Randy Short in rare form. All right, here we go.
Roland Martin, God damn it, you bloated, gluttonous, you bore, you beast, you phony, you jackass, you liar, you hypocritical nigger preacher, Roland Martin. Coon Busters needs to speak to your ass. And yes, I'm in bed. I don't give a damn how I look, and I look better than you, even if I'm not shaved or my hair is combed. At least I've got some damn hair. Roland Martin, this shit going on with these Haitians has been going on for 10 years, and you know all about it. Now, there are a lot of things I don't have in common with you, like good taste. I'm not an attention whore. I hate ascots. A lot of stuff. I mean, I'm not boule. I don't want to be in the goddamn boule. I'm not morbidly overweight, and damn, if I were married, people know what my wife looked like. Yeah, I said that to you. You fat beast, you pig, you slob, you jive nigger. You and I have Haitian roots. I don't lie about It's not as close to me. My Haitian roots go back 200 years. But your grandparents were Haitians. You're a fucking disgrace, man. You're a disgrace, Roland Martin. You're a self-hating nigger disgrace. And everybody should dislike you. I mean, the earthquakes come and gone. All kinds of shit. People had shit in the water in Haiti. All this stuff happens to Haitians, and you don't do a fucking thing. Not a goddamn thing. You got a big, loud-ass voice, and you never raise it. Maybe it's because the Haitians don't have same-sex marriage. Maybe because Haitians don't allow gay adoption in Haiti. Maybe it's some sexuality shit, because that's the only goddamn thing that matters to you Biden sexual type black news people. You and Fraud Reed, her little gorilla looking ass. We're sick and tired of it. Roland Martin, you get your fat ass on your little broom closet station and speak up for your people. In fact, you support the Afghanis. They don't have gay marriage in Afghanistan. They don't allow gay adoption in Afghanistan. If you can forgive their asses and support these people that are going to probably blow up everything once they get here, you should be talking about those niggas under the bridge. They're yours. You know, you're like the little Haitian rich who drink the blood of the poor ones that let the Syrians and the Chinese and everybody rip off and cut the corneas off the eyes of the people in Haiti and let them die in the earthquake. You know, you're not shit. You really aren't shit, Roland Martin. And you're lucky. But your luck is running out, Roland Martin. Why? There are more and more and more and more people who are either forming their own media or whatever. And as things get worse and worse in Black America, folks are looking for people who are in the position to do something that don't. And a lot of Black folks are mad. It will be my great pleasure to use whatever I can in social media to focus negative anger and attention on people like you. You better do something, you big bloated Negro. You think you're all that. You think you're so special. You're not. They don't want you on white mainstream news. And by the way, your name, your likeness, it's the stock of people laughing. You might be important because Black people don't really have the kind of leadership or guidance that they need to deal with turncoats and phonies and traitors. But what if that suddenly, after COVID and a whole bunch of coons have died off, by the way, you're pushing the damn shot, you know, God won't forgive you. In fact, hell may have to get in an additional room to fit your big ass in there, but you're going for what you're doing. You know, you're lucky, Roland, but your luck is running out. Those Haitians, every plane load that goes back will be another person that will say, Roland Martin is a Haitian American. He didn't even say one thing. This sorry ass child groping freak Biden, who you told us was going to do something for us, and he has. He's opened the border to all of the white and light-skinned people, and then he shut it when the Black people got there, the ones in your group, the ones like you, except they are not as fat and they don't wear ascots. Roland Martin, this is on you. You're a criminal, Roland Martin. You call yourself a nigger preacher. The Bible says if you know someone in need and you turn your back on them and you shut up your bowels, it's in the epistles of John that God would punish you. Your big fat ass is going to be punished. God's going to get you. This has gone on for years. The killings, the murders, the assassinations. They even have like a political party dominated by pedophiles. You know about that too. Maybe that's why you're not saying nothing. Maybe you're down with that. You don't stand for anything, Roland Martin. You don't. And you could. And you're mad white media doesn't want you. They're never going to take you back. In fact, I don't know of any morbidly overweight white male newscasters. If they wouldn't take a fat white dude, why would they take a fat Black dude with 5 o'clock shadow every day? I mean, then maybe it should be Midnight Shadow. I mean, hair's falling all out, and God, you got the little geriatric old African women clothes that you've been wearing. What's up with that? We can't stand it. We're tired. We're sick of it. Roland Martin, you didn't say anything when this earthquake hit Haiti again. Flood hit Haiti. I mean, who do you love, really, other than yourself? Playing golf, twerking, and letting a white man play around your behind with a golf club? Maybe the people under the bridge wouldn't understand the black man letting the white man play around them twerking. Maybe that's why you don't like Haiti. Maybe they've got values, something that, you're for sale, and maybe they don't sell everything. Roland Martin, you better do something. We're going to clown you. You remember the election? We're going to have so much fun with you, Roland Martin. And a golf club between your legs. Did your wife see those pictures? Is the wife really? I think so, maybe. Maybe not. They ran you out of Chicago. Does anybody know what you did to almost destroy the Chicago Defender? Do people know that you were in Project 21, this whole project for white supremacists to create leadership that would control and keep down black people, that you went through it? Do they know that you went to that seminary in Louisiana where all the white supremacist pastors go? Is that where you get your religion from? So yeah, I don't care. This isn't about views. I don't do these often, but Roland Martin, go to hell and stay there. You're a disgrace. You've got to be the center of attention. You know what? You're going to be the center of attention of somebody who had Haitian ancestry that didn't give a damn. Roland Martin's a Haitian, y'all. Roland Martin is a Haitian. He's the kind of Haitian that steals and lets the other ones suffer and die and let their kids be sex trafficked to rich white men. He's got the same attitude and mindset. And he does it towards we black Americans. We should reject his bloated ass. Yeah, I said it. I don't need you. I don't want to be friends to you. There's nothing that you've got that I want, in particular adipose tissue. Maybe you can give it to science. Maybe they'll need some new storage unit. Coon Busters, if you're out here, share this. Roland Martin. Roland Martin has had the capacity to do something to help Haitians. Okay, the foreign blacks come here and they don't like us. Well, damn it, help the people of the country that you come from that you're so proud of when you all get together in private and speak patois, whatever the hell you're doing. Oh, fake niggas. They come here, they don't even help their people. And there's one more. That little bitch that looks like a shoe brush, that's the White House spokesperson who screwed a little light-skinned woman I went to Harvard with. What's her name? Malvo. Yeah, that butch. Notice all these black lesbians in power don't help nobody. See, dick makes a difference. And when they don't get none, they let the whole world know about how mean they are. And it's just real talk. A whole bunch of sisters out here, y'all need to screw a real man, get it done real good so y'all can be happy and be kind to the rest of humanity. Damn. Anyway. Yeah, Rollover Martin is a greasy, selfish, self-indulgent, narcissistic attention whore. But he don't want no attention when it comes down to helping somebody other than himself. In fact, if you wanted to get the white news stations to pay attention, why don't you take some of those niggas down there some bread or some water or share some of your depends? Give them something. Okay, you say you're a millionaire. It wouldn't have hurt you. It wouldn't have hurt you to take something to those people under the bridge. It wouldn't hurt you to say something to Biden. You're supposed to be a Christian minister. Well, I've never seen you do anything Christian. Okay? It's just another, piece of paper or something to put on your wall. Sorry ass. Coon ass. ridiculous ass man. And it's a lot of them. You're nobody's leader. You're nobody for anyone to look up to, except for if they want to know why Jenny Craig is a billionaire. They can look at you and see why. And you're pushing all this stuff. All this ridiculous stuff. You're pushing the shots. You're pushing Biden. You push immigration. Now you don't push it. Now you're not going to say nothing. Fake ass nigger. Fake ass nigger. Fat fake ass nigger. Who's suspect? Yeah, I said that too. Where's your wife at? I'm single. Trust me. If I could get me a woman and keep one, you would know her. And if I had to like make Viagra smoothies every day to beat that thing down, I would. What's up with you, dude? I said what I had to say about you. You're sorry, Roland Martin. You're getting away because black people aren't organized and mobilized because they have traitor boule leadership like you. But we may wake up one day. We'll be coming for you and all the ones like you. And we'll snatch that weave off of Joy Reid and all you other little fake non-ADOS, non-FBA people come over here. Don't even help your own people in the shithole countries you come from, then try to hold us down. We're going to get your ass. I got to go, y'all. Who you going to call? Coon Buster. And tell these little bastards in this social media, shut me off. Maybe I need to do these every so many days. By the way, Coon Busters, I just want y'all to know I'm working. We're creating a new publication. And I own another one. We'll talk about it. But everybody spread this. Roland Martin's not shit. In fact, maybe he needs an enema. Maybe that's why he's so round and spherical looking. Him and Lizzo need to hook up and go in and do a his and her enema. Man, there'd be enough natural gas to power America. Anyway, I gotta go. Bye.
And there was Dr. Short live in a I can't. Dr. Short is very fascinating. And I mean, think of Dr. Short. Let me read disclaimer. God. Oh my God. Disclaimer: the views expressed by hosts and guests on the We All Be TV platform are not the official views, opinions, beliefs, or perspectives of We All Be News or the We All Be Group, Inc. We All Be News is an organization that thoroughly believes in supplementing the information narrative that is usually supplied by the corporate news entities with those viewpoints and expressions which may be marginalized or ignored for a plethora of reasons. We are about informing the general public on alternative perspectives as it relates to news and information, and letting the general public be the ultimate judge in deciding on how to use said information. Informed citizens are responsible citizens. Thank you for your support. So, yeah, y'all should friend Dr. Short on Facebook. Randy Lancaster Short. Dr. Short has these interesting views, but you know, I met Roland several times. I just don't take it personal with these people. These people do what they do. Roland is Roland. He's a man. It's unfortunate that he's not speaking out on behalf of his people, because it really is conflicting for me, because, you know, the immigration thing, they're nothing but our replacements, but at the same time, treat people like human beings. They're human beings. Treat them with respect, compassion, consideration. I mean, my God, but black leadership is MIA, does not exist. Black boule, yes. Black leadership, no. When I mean by black leadership, I mean leadership that put the needs of their group constituents allegedly before anybody else. If they're black people, our needs and concerns should be top on their list, but it's not, because they don't answer to us. They're called a boule. They don't train anybody. You can't name me one so-called leader they got a successor. There's none. They don't believe in successors. You know, you even look at, like I said, a lot of black folks like these mob movies. I mean, a lot of times the future mob boss start out as the driver for the boss, the chauffeur, drive the boss around. You learn, you know, the ins and outs of their thing, our thing. There's no black. Where's the internship for black folks to take it to the next level. Now, I would say shout out to the billionaire Robert Smith for trying to help black people achieve. And people, well, you know, he married a white lady. I think his first wife was black, though. You know what I'm saying? I don't, y'all be getting to the bedroom politics. I said, look, he know that black folks getting screwed over. And he know how the system works because he's a billionaire. He knows what it takes to make that money, to make that paper count. I mean, he had his dealing with the IRS and survive. So he want to pass it on to the next generation. And I don't have a problem with it. Y'all keep on, when he married a white woman, he was married to a sister before. He got black children by a sister. You know, y'all ain't know who he was all this time because he ain't no basketball player, or football player, or entertainer. And a lot of them kids end up broke within a certain amount of time. Like sports athletes, they end up broke several years after retiring. So this guy knew how to make long money, long-term ways, and he wanted to pass on the wealth, so be it. Same thing with Bill Cosby did. Dr. Bill Cosby at these institutions and peoples turn their back. Had my cousin Curtis Mayfield say, educated fools from uneducated schools. So here we are as a people. But Dr. Short, he speaks for a lot of people. I think speaks for a certain segment that have been forgotten about, marginalized, left out the conversation, left out the solution. So, I mean, where I can, I will try to help amplify what he's saying. I may not always agree 100%, but I agree with his right 100% to say what he want to say, especially if he's going to stand by what he says. So, Dr. Short, a real unsung. So we got to support those type of people that speak out. Because you pay there's a tax, there's a cost to be paid for speaking out the way Dr. Short speaks out. Yeah, I got to say it because, I mean, it don't mean nothing than YouTube a lot of times, but I do believe in people's freedom of speech and stuff. I do believe people right to say what they want to say and think how they want to think, and we're living in some very perilous times when it comes to free thought, free speech, free association. So, because we don't study history or know history, we don't know what's really going on, but a few of us do know what's going on. And it's very concerning because this year is really weird right now. Like a lot of weird energy, a lot of interesting weird things going on. And you just keep the faith in your eyes on the prize. Yeah, he was brilliant. But I think the problem is like a lot of times he died young. And when you don't live long enough, it's hard to get remembered. Because you got to think about with Jimmy Lunsford. If he's very popular during his lifetime, but he's forgotten about because he died so young at 45, whereas Duke and Count lived to be in their late 70s. So they was around for television and all the other stuff, but they was able to, with Bobby Rush. If Bobby Rush died as a young man, we wouldn't know who Bobby Rush is today. It took him a long time to get to where he's at as being a renowned entertainer. You know, but there's more than one way to get where you need to go. Some get there quicker than ever. I mean, quicker than others, you know. Some take the cynic route. Yeah, Dr. Short read him his rights. Sure enough, yeah. Dr. Short is a treasure. But I mean, my thing is Dr. Short should be somewhere creating policy, teaching folks. The institute should be tenured, but telling the truth has cost him. That's the tax he had to pay. And Dr. Short paid that tax. I wish there's a way that our people can help, you know, people like Dr. Short be supported and sustained, you know. But we live in that interesting times. I know, Sister Sunshine, you asked me about Nicki Minaj. I respect Nicki Minaj on the stand she's taking because it's going to cost her. It's costing her money. And because she is not going by the playbook. So I encourage more people to stand on principle and truth. And to be contrarian in times of great deceit. So I think I could close it out, man. I just think I touch on some things I want to touch on. You know, I'm going to save the Dr. Short video for another time. You know, you out taking chance, calculated risk. Just like, you know, You raw dogging a prostitute. You taking the chance. Might not always end up pretty. You might enjoy it for that moment, but hey, there's a price to be paid. No, Dr. Shell don't have no filters. But with the Haitian thing, I think is really sad. The Haitian people, they was disrespected because they beat one of white supremacy's greatest heroes at his own game, Napoleon, and they've never been allowed to forget or be forgiven for that. And so, you think about it's weird that Haiti is on the same island as the Dominican Republic. It's like the Dominican Republic has no problem. You never hear about the Dominican Republic having earthquakes, destroy the social economic infrastructure of their place. You never hear about them having their leaders being assassinated under questionable, murky circumstances. See always Haiti getting all the misfortune, and they're on the same island. So you got to ask the question, why that is. Are they cursed? I don't believe they cursed. I believe they got a large target on their back. You think about when the U.S. Marines occupied Haiti for several decades, and Booker T. Washington spoke out against the occupation of Haiti by the U.S. Marines. One of his last things he did, he wrote an article that appeared in the New York Age, which was founded and ran by the brilliant and forgotten about T. Thomas Fortune, brilliant black journalist. Booker T. Washington wrote an op-ed saying that the Haitian people were a very proud people and that the United States should leave them alone. And next thing you know, Booker T. Washington died under questionable circumstances. People still don't really know how he died to this day, but the old timers said allegedly that he was poisoned by a Haitian. But Booker T. Washington, unlike some people that people talked about, pointed out, he took a stand and said it was wrong for U.S. This is Mr. Great Compromiser here. He said, hey, U.S. need to leave Haiti alone. He told me, y'all need to leave Haiti alone. Several weeks later, he dead. The person who replaced him, Robert Moulton, U.S. Army intelligence, ushered in Tuskegee experiment. Now, would that happen on the Booker T. Washington watch? More than likely not. Well, Nikki, she gonna pay that cost. Just like Paul Robeson, Nina Simone, Josephine Baker, Eartha Kitt, hell, even Harry Belafonte. You pay a cost for speaking out. There's a price to be paid to be on the right side of history. There's a price to be paid. Yeah, the Haitian Revolution, Bookman Diddy, prayer. They were saying that Dilma Visi was working with the Haitians to help liberate black people in America, allegedly. Dilma Visi up in Charleston. I think he was from the islands. I don't know, it's so much stuff. But my thing is, with black Americans, you really should not be supporting immigration for anybody. But at the same time, these are our brothers and sisters in the melanin. They have a very unique history, and we should want them to be treated with respect. The government should not, if you want to bring all Afghanis and everybody else, welcome them with open arms. I keep on thinking about Dearborn, Michigan. I don't think y'all should look up Dearborn, Michigan. They call it the Arab capital of the world. They were bringing over Iraqis back in the 90s and Syrians and all types of Middle Easterns. It's the Arab capital of America. Y'all should drive through Dearborn, Michigan one day, especially if you live in Michigan. A brother told me Dearborn is right outside Detroit. And Detroit, I think that he told me that Detroit only has 2 black-owned gas stations. They used to be Chocolate City, Motown, all that stuff. You got a city like Detroit with a very unique and proud black history being reduced like that. And you look, Dearborn, Michigan is thriving. They're getting Arab, American, all types of money, driving businesses, palatial homes, exotic cars. yeah, I remember going to Dearborn and remember like I said to myself, so this is Dearborn, Michigan. You know, you got Arab Americans, immigrants up here living the dream, and yet not that far away is Flint, Michigan, where they telling people that you cannot even use the water to wash your cars with. So I remember when I went to Flint, Michigan, I made sure I didn't stop to get anything to eat or use anybody's restroom. Let me get out of Flint on my way back to Saginaw. I said, nobody, no can do. But I'm saying, but when you look at what we experienced last year and this year, you got to come to the conclusion that most people don't matter to this system. We're just guinea pig, lab rats, and collateral damage. And if people can't get that, look at the history. Like y'all, it's insane that y'all trying to prove to the devil that you live in the hell when the devil know you live in the hell. Y'all keep on, well, I got the receipts. Look, I'm ADOS, I'm FBA. Where's my reparations? Cut the check. Y'all did this massacre. Y'all did that massacre. Yeah, we know because you live in the hell. This is what hell's supposed to be like. So what you gonna do to change it besides the protesting and marching and hashtagging? What you gonna do about it? This is what hell is functioning like it's supposed to be functioning. I don't know. It's supposed to be paradise when you're in hell. You know, it's a fascinating time to be alive. But I mean, black folks are hardworking people. Black people, anybody who's the hardest working people are some of the poorest people on the planet. I mean, like people always equate hard work with success. A lot of times you can work hard and not have no success. There's a lot of hard working poor people with several jobs. You got wealthy people that never had a job. And their money work for them. They don't work for the money. The money is inherited and invested, and it makes a great return. You got folks working to the bone, like you like a hamster on a wheel, spinning around and around. You spinning fast. You think you're being productive when you're just being distracted. A lot of us confuse productivity with being distracted and being busy. So, I mean, so-called rat race or hamster wheel chase or whatever you want to call it. Most of us, majority of us are pawns for a game we don't even understand how to play, let alone understand how to play, let alone understand or understand how to win. And that's the way they want it. How can you exist in critical times without knowing how to critically think? Therein lies the rub. It's a cruel joke. And so on that note, folks, I guess I'll call it a night. I got to go drive hundreds of miles. So y'all take it easy. If you like the words from Brother Herb, please spread the word. Subscribe while you can. We all be TV, one word. You know, they really been like last 2 months, I've been getting negative subscribers. Like I'm in a negative. It's interesting. So they subtracting subscribers every month. First I was gaining, now they subtracting. I mean, like they don't even want me to get 100,000, let alone 1 million. It is what it is. But as the world turns, so is the wheels in my mind, my head. I'm thinking of other ways, thinking of a master plan. But thank y'all so much for being loyal listeners. Some of y'all been listening to Brother Ron for years. Thank you for the words of encouragement and support. If you like the words from Brother Herb, not only spread the word, but donate to the cash app, $ R2C2H2. Do Google Pay, PayPal, or Zelle your support at R2C2H2 at gmail.com. You can Venmo your support at R2C2H2. You can wear Artivist art. Go below the description box to access our official Teespring t-shirt and accessory page. Also, you could hang and you could buy and hang Artivist art. R2C2H2.com. So thank you for the safe travel. There's a thing called work smarter, not harder. Most people just ain't. I mean, the future is here. You know, those movies like Terminator, Minority Report is already playing out before our eyes. A lot of us can't even see it for what it is. We're too busy getting caught up in the Disney Plus fantasy world of Marvel Universe, not seeing that the real movie is being played out. We are at the end game. This is the end game being played out, and a lot of us ain't gonna make it. And we're seeing it now. Because my social media timeline is just like on Grim Reaper mode. I mean, I never seen this much death on my timeline. Not even from 2020. It's like, this is as crazy as the end game right now. I mean, I don't know what to tell people, but I remember I had yet to post about that, but I went to the Georgia Guidestones back in May of 2018. That was a phenomenal experience because it was a last minute decision to go to the Georgia Guidestones. And I went the same time this young lady from England came. She was actually riding cross country. She started in San Francisco, riding her way towards New York City. I think her name was Nikki. So I had a nickname for her. I called her Illuminati Nikki, and I was Boule Ron. And so we were taking pictures in front of Georgia Guidestones. Really interesting monument, sculpture, whatever you want to call it, in the middle of a cow pasture, in the middle of nowhere, somewhere in Georgia. But they said it's like the 10 Commandments for the New World Order. They wanted the world population to get down to 500 million people. And they gave us the rules to live by in multiple languages. So I got footage of that. I got a lot of footage I'm sitting on, have yet to edit. Maybe I might get some time towards the end of the year to put that out, but it's already playing out before our eyes, the mission of the Georgia Guidestone, which was made available to the people. It was put out there back in March of 1980. So that's 41 years ago. So what they said, man, y'all take care of each other, take care of yourself, keep hope alive, keep faith alive, keep your eyes on the prize. And there's a lot of different movies out there y'all can check out. Yeah, the robots out here. Thank you for the traveling blessings, everybody. Thank you, Jesse Stevenson. I appreciate your, liking the artwork here. The best is yet to come. But let me read the disclaimer one more time. The views expressed by hosts and guests on the We All Be TV platform are not the official views, opinions, beliefs, or perspectives of We All Be News or the We All Be Group Incorporated. We All Be News is an organization that thoroughly believes in supplementing the information narrative that is usually supplied by the corporate news entities with those viewpoints and expressions which may be marginalized or ignored for a plethora of reasons. We are about informing the general public on alternative perspectives.